Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Mitch Thunder Nelles in for Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Sparky's back on Tuesday. Man, we're all here on Tuesday. Charlie, you here on Tuesday?
I'll be here on Tuesday.
You here this weekend? You got the weekend off?
I am. No, I'll be here Saturday morning.
Well,
Wisconsin Sports Weekend.
Wisconsin Sports Weekend tomorrow morning with
sir.
Charlie and Jack Peacock.
Yes, sir.
Nice. That'll be fun. You guys got anything special?
I think we're going to be talking about
Mount
this. Probably.
Pixmore?
Yes. We're
All
going to
right.
have Mount Pixmore.
Nice. How'd you do this week?
We did okay. Tommy kind of let us down last week a little bit, and I think he got one of them.
Hashtag shocker.
So we're going to have to go through and rectify some of the issues over there with that. But other than that, I mean, Brewers taking on Blue Jays tonight. It's going to be a fun game. Freddie Peralta starting there, so we're going to have to break down that for you. And then you got Micah Parsons going to the Packers, so I'm sure we're going to have to break that down too a little bit. I think I might want to continue this jersey number discussion that we were talking about. I think it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it's a fun one. And by tomorrow morning, we may know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing we will know. I'm guessing
Probably.
we'll know I would guess by 6, like when he comes out.
I feel like when Gutekunst comes out, they should have the number set.
They might have it set, but I wonder if they'll bring it out or if they'll wait to like have Micah come out in his jersey.
Or do the hand it to him picture.
Yeah, exactly. So we will see about that. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. 414-677-1250. Tim Dillard at 320, Drew Wagner at 4, Jason Hirschhorn at 420. We've got plenty of guests coming up to just really inundate us with all the news and all the things going on. Lots of Brewers talk we'll get to, and of course, all sorts of Packers talk as well, as Micah Parsons is now a member of the Green Bay Packers. And it's amazing. And this is an inside media thing for all of you. Like, it's amazing how quickly or how slowly teams can get news out. Because a lot of times when somebody's being released or there's a trade, like the press release doesn't come out for a day or two. And you're like, what's taking all this time? Does it need to take this time? Is there going to be a late afternoon Friday news dump, which is something that teams do when there's bad news? People actually in news do that also. Our politicians across the aisles do that very often on Friday. Very often, the Friday afternoon news dump is famous not just in sports but in politics as well.
Well, I think it's mostly because they want to control the narrative in any of these situations, whether it's a sports team, two politicians like you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I think really you're looking at people that just want the news to come out on their own terms. And yeah, you got the reporters, the beat writers breaking all of these stories as they happen. But at the same time, it's still nothing's official until the person says something about it. Right. Like we hear all the time. So I think that's really what it comes down to, is they want to make sure they have everything down right, because they're the ones that dictate whether or not it's going to be true.
But we get all the news on Twitter. Like, the players are talking about it. A lot of times the reporters are talking about it, but the team hasn't announced it. Well, it was interesting. This one was like immediate. Like, it was breaking news at 4, and by 6 o'clock we had the press releases. And by like 4:06, Micah Parsons had already posted on social medias his goodbye letter to Dallas. So there's no way this was a surprise to Dallas, to Green Bay, to Micah Parsons. There's no way that Micah hadn't already planned that, regardless of where he was going to, because he didn't write in that letter, so excited to go to Green Bay, so excited for the Pack. It was just like a love letter, goodbye letter to the Dallas Cowboys and really the Dallas fans. And that, so that was clearly done. Like, that was clearly ready to go. Hey, Rob Demovsky. Rob Demovsky's on TV right now. I know him.
He's been on TV a lot today.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of hits for ESPN there nationally. Our friend Rob Demovsky, whose son is really good at basketball. So we've got all sorts of things going on. Kind of a quiet weekend for the Packers beyond this. Like, after the press conferences today, it's all systems go for the Lions, but there's no, besides the press conferences that they're doing, there were no previously scheduled practices or press conferences today. There's nothing going on this weekend. I mean, I'm sure they're doing stuff this weekend, but there's not like all of a sudden the news, that news funnel goes a little bit dry until we get to Monday, and then it's game week. Like, can you believe, Charlie, that we are basically game week, NFL game week? I mean, Dallas and Philly play Thursday night. The Chiefs and the Chargers play Friday night. Real games, not garbage Hall of Fame games or joint practice and just beating on each other. Real games this week in the NFL.
The NFL
Less than a week
offseason
away.
just flies by every year. It just feels like it just goes by, even though I'm waiting for it. That's my favorite season of the year is NFL football. So yeah, it feels like it's flying by. Talking about the Lions and even some of these other NFC North teams, how many of them do you think were as all in as the Packers were on Micah Parsons in any kind of discussion here? And then what do you think the reaction was from those teams when the Packers got Micah Parsons?
So, and Jerry Jones talked about it, and there's been some reporters who talked about it, that they got calls from numerous teams. Part of what I wonder is how many teams had $120 million available right away, because that's a payment today. Like Micah Parsons is getting that into an escrow account today, that the Packers payment, that signing bonus is today, $120 million. Now, I assume most teams had that available depending on their bills, because they all just got checks for $450 million or whatever it was. But if they had that much of debt and they were paying down debt or whatever it was, and they didn't have that money available, I don't know. I don't know how many teams had the wherewithal to, have a 4-year, $47 million deal out there. And I'm guessing, I would guess 20 of the 32 teams didn't have that room under the cap, and that vaults the Packers to. But it's surprising to me that the Cowboys would trade Micah Parsons to the Packers. Obviously they're not trading him to the Eagles. They're not trading him to the Commanders. They're not trading him to the Giants. You're not trading him within your division. Maybe they would have traded him to the Giants because the Giants stink anyway. Who cares? But I don't think you're doing that trade. But then after those three teams, I got to think the Packers are at the top of that list. I mean, the Niners are on that list. The Rams are on that list. The Lions are on the list. The Vikings are on that list. But I think of all those teams, when you think of the beatdown the Packers put on the Cowboys 2 years ago in the playoffs, and just absolutely eviscerated them in Dallas.
Which Jerry Jones said was the worst loss of his career as the owner of the Cowboys.
Yep. And that was just that was unbelievable. I think after the three teams in the NFC East, which is you never make a trade within your division, at least of this caliber, that the Packers had to be the next team. And for Jerry Jones to do it anyway, almost reeks of Luka to the Lakers. Where if the Mavericks had let it be known that Luka was available, I believe that the Mavericks get more than Anthony Davis and a couple picks. That they get an all-star and 5 number ones based on what Rudy Gobert got.
Do you think that has something to do with, in both these situations, and I think definitely with Jerry Jones, that maybe trading a Micah Parsons for a semi-washed up Kenny Clark and then only 2 first-round picks when he probably could have gotten more, was him trying to send some kind of message to Micah Parsons oh, you're not worth as much as what everybody was dictating? Was that Nico Harrison telling Luka Doncic that, yeah, you're good, but you're not that good? That you're not worth a Giannis and a first-round pick like the Bucks might have been offering?
So if that is, that is such an incredible dereliction of duty. That is such an incredible screw up of epic proportion, because none of that stuff should matter. This is professional sports, which is professional business, but it's also on-field, on-court competition. And your goal as general manager should always be, without fail, the thought process to make your team better and to win championships. And the Dallas Mavericks and the Dallas Cowboys both failed in that duty this year. And you said it. Anthony Davis is really, really good.
He's a phenomenal player.
Can't stay healthy, but really, and we saw even in the short time he played before Kyrie got hurt and Anthony Davis played, like they were awesome together. And the Mavericks might end up being really good when Kyrie comes back
and
from
they have
his
Cooper
injury.
Flag now. Like,
right,
it might work out.
And that whole thing, like getting number one, like that's just happenstance. But yes, this Mavericks team over the next 2 or 3 years should be a title contender. And part of that is complete luck that they got Cooper Flag, because if they'd gotten the 7th pick in the draft like they should have, they'd have some bum who's like, okay. And I think a lot of it will depend on if Irving and Davis can stay healthy, which they probably can't, and it'll probably won't go their way. But they did not get all they could have gotten back for Luka. And similarly, the Dallas Cowboys simply did not get back all they could have gotten for Micah Parsons. They just did not. And when literally every NFL insider says that, when literally every NFL insider knows that you could have gotten a third number one, or you could have gotten 2 number ones from a worse team, or if you had made this trade in April, you could have gotten Green Bay's 22nd pick instead of looking at 26, 27, 28. Now, I don't know that the Packers make this trade because the draft was in Green Bay. And again, that might have been against the Packers doing their due diligence to get the best trade they could have, because the Packers should have traded 2 number ones for Micah Parsons in April and traded the 25 and 26 picks. And yeah, you don't have Matthew Golden, and you probably do something else with wide receiver. And yeah, you don't have a number one when you're hosting the draft, but you got Micah Parsons. So I just think that there's like, if there's anything along the lines of like Jerry Jones trying to send a message to Micah Parsons, man, if there's anything, but it's crazy thought process that I wouldn't put by Jerry Jones. 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Fan talking text line. Your thoughts again. Where were you when the Micah Parsons news broke? Bowling with the Theft chimes in on our YouTube channel. That's at The Fan Milwaukee, at The Fan Milwaukee. Regular season NFL games and home stretch playoff baseball at the same time. Love this time of year. Theft, I am so with you. I'm so on board with that. I know that I used to. So when I worked across the street, I had a producer who would always rail against the fall. He was a spring, summer guy, and I love him, and he's great. And Charlie, I don't know where you fall on your favorite season. I actually love the fact that I live in Milwaukee, and I love 4 seasons. Winter's a little cold. I agree. It's a little long, but I love having a winter. September, when you get that feeling of football in the air. I mean, and maybe it's because I went to Madison and I went to all the Badger football games, and man, waking up on a Saturday morning on a warm-ish but also crisp-ish fall Saturday morning, and just walking Regent Street, having a beer, walking up Fraternity and Sorority Road next to Camp Randall, just taking in all the sights and all the sounds and all the drinks, and and having playoff baseball. I mean, I remember watching Brewers Diamondbacks in the playoffs, I think I had to leave the game early to get to Badgers, Nebraska's first ever game in the Big Ten, where the Badgers just opened it up on them and just destroyed them. Now that's a great day. You get playoff baseball into a night game at Camp Randall. I love March Madness, and I love the Super Bowl. And I mean, I don't love the Masters, but I know lots of people love the Masters. But man, playoff baseball into a college football game, into a game at Lambeau on Sunday. You're telling me there's something better than that weekend? Best time of the year. Best time of the year. Charlie, am I wrong?
I don't think so. I'm a fall, autumn guy myself.
Yeah,
I'm a early football season
because you're a big guy, so like you don't mind.
I get to wear sweatshirts and the short combo. That's one of my favorites.
Love the sweatshirt shorts. Love it.
But again, just the end of baseball season, I've talked about this before with Sparky too. This is what I'm a little sad about, like the presentation of the MLB playoffs, where they used to have like the leaves falling on the scoreboard and all these other like cool little homages to just the fall and the fall classic, and I just always got me so fired up for the playoffs. And I wish they still did that, but it still also feels like it has a different aura than almost any other playoff around. And then you get the beginning of football season, which is just the best part of the football season. The middle of the football season gets a little boring. Yeah, the end it gets a little more entertaining, but until the Super Bowl, it feels like it's the first couple weeks of the year and then the Super Bowl, and that's what you're most looking forward to with football season.
But with that said, the fact that games are only once a week, like you're not getting into, and I don't want to say it's a slog like Major League Baseball, because I'm here for all 162. But the dog days of August are real, and we just experienced them. We got a 14-game winning streak, and then we lose a couple series and split a series, and the Brewers got to get it back on track, and hopefully they'll get it back on track starting tonight in Toronto with Freddie Peralta on the mound. Tim Dillard from FanDuel Sports Wisconsin will join us next to tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Brewers. We do have a transaction to report. Rob Zester was activated. Easton McGee was sent down. Jackson Churio not yet activated. I didn't see what he did in Nashville last night, how that went. But Tim Dillard will join the show next. Here we are, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. And remember, if you are looking for a place for your fantasy football draft, you got to get to the Potawatomi Sportsbook. 6,500 square feet, 2 levels, and you get your private elevator pass to the second floor. Smorgasbord of food, 3 drink tickets per team, draft board, stickers, podium, all the great stuff. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Reserve your day and time today. Tim Dillard, next. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. My name's Mitch Nelles, aka Thunder, in for Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. He'll be back on Tuesday. Wanted to let everybody know that you have a chance to meet Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Fan. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer broadcasting live and in person at Rally House in Wauwatosa at the Mayfair Collection next Friday from 2 to 5, just in time for you to gear up for the Packers home opening game on Sunday the 7th. The Fan will even be registering people to win a $250 Rally House gift card. Sparky will see you at the Rally House next Friday afternoon. That should be an absolute blast. Joining us now on the Fan guest line, powered by Gruber Law, one call, that's all. The one, the only, Dim Tillett. You are a good-looking gentleman. Like you are ready for television. I don't know what you're doing on the radio here. You are be ready, baby.
Yeah, it's got to be the beard. It just covers up the face. It's just pretty much what I'm going for. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much for jumping on. I know not normally you jump on Thursdays, but of course we had the day game yesterday, and it was kind of, the game itself was weird, but I don't know how much you get into like what's going on in Wisconsin, because it became a weird, we're in the bottom of the ninth. Christian Yelich comes up to pinch hit with 2 men on, down by 2, and the Packers make one of the biggest trades in the history of franchise. And so it's like, I'm trying to watch Christian Yelich. I'm trying to pay attention, and Twitter's blowing up, and breaking news is all over here. Does that permeate into what you guys are doing at all, or is it full tunnel vision into baseball when you're on the air?
Yeah, well, I actually wasn't on the Arizona series. So, I mean,
Right.
I found out all about this stuff. I was actually at the AAA Nashville Sounds. FanDuel Sports Network picked up the Nashville Sounds game afterwards. So I was in the
Nice.
club. I was in the clubhouse talking to the coaches and the players and trainers and strength guys that I had coming up, and some former teammates in there and clubbies, and it was just, I was having a great time. Saw the end of the Brewers game, didn't work out in their favor. Then saw the trade, and then it's like, all right, now let's talk AAA baseball with these Brewers, and so got to watch a great game. Very well pitched, all the way around. I mean, you got to be happy with where these organizations are right now.
Absolutely. Tim Dillard joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. So you were with Nashville. We got a Jackson Chourio. What's the Jackson Chourio update? How we feeling? There are rumors that he could be joining the team in Toronto.
Yeah, well, they already listed some transactions. He was not on that transaction, but he didn't play yesterday after playing 9 innings the night before. So that was actually, that's usually pretty much normal. Once you start getting back from the IL and you play a 9-inning game, the last thing you do is play another 9-inning game. But I mean, from what I heard, everybody in Nashville, he looks good. The level of play is there. The intensity is there, which is what you want to see after a hamstring. So I'm actually kind of surprised maybe he wasn't activated, but obviously they have their reasons why or why not.
So what can it mean for our team? The Brewers, obviously, with the 14-game winning streak, and then losing 2 out of 3 to San Francisco, splitting 4 games with Arizona, but having that 14-game winning streak without Jackson in the lineup. And then all of a sudden, it's like, the trade deadline's done. And we like to say, like, this is even bigger than like the Brewers win the trade deadline because they made the move for Vaughn, or they made it. But now it's like if they get Jackson Chourio back at full strength for a September run, what type of energy does that give the team?
You want to know what kind of energy it is? He's lightning in a bottle, and he has missed 22, 23 games already with the Brewers. Since he's been on the IL, and he is still leading the team in extra base hits. So that puts it in perspective. He has 50 extra base hits. Number 2 on there is Yelich. I think Yelich has 42. Then you got Contreras, you got Turang. And I mean, this team shows that they can win no matter who they have out there. They just keep finding guys to plug in and play a role. But Jackson Chourio is a game changer. He's a guy that can, rattle off 2 doubles in back-to-back at-bats, couple of home runs here. Like, that's the kind of at-bat. And he's tough to pitch to. You look at the way pitchers are trying to
mhm.
face him, they don't know what to do with a guy like that. There's some guys that fall into a pattern, but you could locate a pitch down and away, and this dude crush it opposite field like it's nothing. I think he picked that up from hanging out with Adames and Contreras for a couple of years,
No,
just to kind of
that'll
see
help.
what
That'll
that,
help.
yeah, what that work ethic looks like and what you're capable of. And he's got all the talent in the world, and he's a vital role and a vital piece. And if they get him back, it's only going to help the team.
Tim Dillard's here on the Fan. He's part of FanDuel Sports, Milwaukee Brewers coverage. As we look at, 14-game winning streak, it's hard to come down from that high. Like that, the city was on fire. The team was on fire. Every game was sold out. Every game was a 9th inning win. Everybody's going crazy. But you can't, that when you do that in the middle of August, you can't just win your last 40 games. You can't win your last 30 games. That doesn't happen. So what do you tell fans who are like, man, why aren't they playing as well? Why aren't they winning? Is it, it seemed like winning was so easy. Why isn't winning so easy, Tim?
Well, I mean, the good thing is they're still number one, right? They're number one record.
Oh, nicely done.
Yeah, got the foam finger.
Love it.
Yeah, they're still number one, and that helps, right? They got a little lead there. But really, they have run into some fantastic pitching. If you go to the Cubs series, every one of those guys was great. They have faced Paul Skeens, Andrew Abbott. With the Giants, it was Logan Webb, Robbie Ray. I mean, these guys
really
are
good
all
pitchers.
stars. So they have like really run into some really good pitching over this really long stretch with no off days. And to me, this is just the icing on the really unfortunate cake about the guys they're about to see in Toronto in this series. Starting with Shane Bieber, who, I mean, is guys won a Cy Young and All-Star and coming back from the IL and coming off a really good start last time out. And then having Kevin Gosman and then, of course, Mad Max Scherzer. So really, that's all is what it comes down to. They haven't played perfect baseball, and I think on the losses, they had to play perfect baseball, and they just haven't. And that's what you strive for, but at the same time, it's not feasible. You're just not going to play perfect baseball all the time. But this team is still good, and eventually they'll run into somebody that hasn't been an all-star and hasn't won a Cy Young, and hopefully they can rattle off some wins.
Yeah, well, you took us right where I wanted to go, Tim, here on the Fan, is this series in Toronto. And, breaking news yesterday at 4:00 with the Micah Parsons trade. And we went long yesterday and all day today. We've been talking to Packers beat reporters and national NFL guys. And we've kind of lost sight, but before this all started, when I was mapping out my week, doing the Mason Crosby show and filling in for Sparky, I was planning on going big with this Brewers Blue Jays series. And I haven't because of the breaking news, but I'm still I'm all in. I'm excited. You have the best team in baseball, the best record in the National League against the team that's number one in the American League. I can't wait to watch this series. I think it's going to be a great barometer for the Milwaukee Brewers. How do you're flying high. You're still number one. You've come back down to earth a little bit. Does this just fire you back up to get ready for a series like this?
Well, number one, it's a shame that we didn't cover the Andrew Vaughn trade as much as we've been covering. No,
we should have.
We should have.
Well, he did. Hey, he got a T-shirt. He got a T-shirt.
He got a T-shirt, deservingly so. I'm really excited about this matchup. Really, the next two matchups. The Brewers, record-wise, best team in baseball. Maybe they haven't playing well, but they're about to face off against the Blue Jays, one of the best teams in baseball that hasn't been playing well either. And then after that, the Phillies. And these are two teams that kind of win in similar ways, the way they play the game, the way they don't strike out a lot, the way they put the ball in play. I think the next three games are going to be action-packed. I mean, good, bad, and different. It's going to be dynamic. I already know just from a radio show in Toronto of what the atmosphere is going to be like for this series. So it's real. People are getting on board with the Blue Jays. I think they were surprised, as they should.
Right.
They were surprised. They didn't think the team was going to be what they were. I think you could say that about the Brewers. Fans didn't think the Brewers were going to be here. So these are two really good stories across baseball. And I don't think maybe Major League Baseball really wants these two to match up in the World Series because it won't sell as many tickets as Yankees, and Dodgers. But this is
Right.
what baseball needs right now, to prove to everybody that you can play the game this way, fundamentally
Mhm.
sound, and be successful. So I hope this is a preview to what the World Series is going to look like.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and I know that we've been talking for a couple weeks here on the fan about that. When you play against the Brewers, you got to play baseball, right? You
Yeah.
got to play baseball all 27 outs. You can't make mistakes. You can't stop paying attention. You can't. You have to pay attention. Even when Monasterio gets thrown out the other night, like he's trying to make an extra something happen, and Gurriel, who may have taken a little extra time or the ball got slowed down by the grass, he still has to make a really good throw to get Monasterio out because they're going to make you play baseball. And I feel like the Blue Jays are similar. Like, I haven't seen a lot of the Blue Jays this year, but I've watched a couple of games here and there. And they, like you said, like 1 through 9, they just got guys who can put the bat on the ball. They've got a very good pitching staff. I mean, the 3 starters, now with Bieber back, who pitched 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run against the Marlins in his first start back, and now he's ready to go. They have a very good pitching staff. Very similar teams here that could be. I know we're all excited about the Packers and Micah Parsons, but man, I'm excited for baseball this weekend.
I'm excited to watch Peralta. I'm excited to watch Priester, Woodruff. And
Any
just
update
see
on Priester? Any update on Priester? Have you heard at the wrist? Is he all systems go?
Yeah, I think he's in this series. I'll have to double check.
He's scheduled for Saturday, but they did skip his start on Wednesday to have him start, just to precautionary or whatever.
Well, you mentioned it earlier in the show, talking about the dog days of summer. I mean, this is August, and August is when, you can go one or two ways. You show up and you hate everybody. You're like, I'm sick of this. And, it's Groundhog Day and it's catching up with me after this many months. Or you can say, hey, we're putting together something special. Let's, we're all, in this together. Let's pull together and get this done. But you got to take care of the pitching staff. If you got to push a guy a day, push a guy 2 days, whatever it looks like, you have to do that because you know how important, the end of September is going to be to make sure all these guys that have carried you this far are going to be healthy into September. So are you going to sacrifice a couple of games? You got to bring up guys from AAA, whatever that looks like. Do that just to make sure these guys are fresh and ready for the end of September and beyond.
Yep. Tim Dillard joining us here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. So as you look at how this roster is constructed, and Ortiz is on the injured list, but he'll be coming back when he gets back. Churio, it sounds like he's very close. Rhys Hoskins, I think, is really close. Some of the pitchers, they have found a way to be flexible with bullpen arms, shuttling guys back and forth between Milwaukee and Nashville. Does anything stand out to you as you're looking forward to someone, whether they break a slump or they come back, or watching how a certain position is handled this last month of the season?
I mean, I think all things are pointing in a good direction. I know they got some pitching injuries, and that's going to play a role, but they also have Chad Patrick in AAA. I just saw him yesterday. Yoho pitched. He did give up a run, which is like his only second run he's given up all season long.
Crazy.
But his stuff is good. It plays.
Yep.
I think Yoho in particular needs a fair shake in the big leagues. He's been put out there in some really strange, hard situations.
Yep.
If he's one of those September call-ups, I think that would be a good choice as well. But they do need innings. I think Tobias Myers has done fantastic.
I agree.
Churio's going to come back and he's going to be himself. It may take a few games. But honestly, I'm excited for Rhys Hoskins. Rhys Hoskins carried this offense in May, and people forget that because he got injured and they called up Vaughn, and Vaughn ends up getting a T-shirt. But Hoskins can play some baseball, let me tell you. I saw him playing last night. I think he went 0 for, but great at-bats. You could tell that he was, getting good swings. He's been hitting the ball hard in Nashville. All things are pointing great. If he's activated and he's going to be there for the Philly series, it's going to be very cool to watch. Because when he gets hot, man, there's nobody that's going to stop him. And I think right now, towards the end of the year, when guys' legs are tired and, maybe the bats are getting tired, you want guys that are fresh, back from injury or get whatever it is to come and add some of that slug, because it's fun when these guys are putting the ball, through the fence and over the fence.
And Tim, I think that's a great point, because so often fans find a way to complain about all sorts of things, like, oh, we have too many starting pitchers, or what are we going to do with Collins in left and Yelich and Hoskins and Vaughn, and who's going to DH? And is there any way Collins could play second and Terrain goes to short and whatever it might be? Like, fans always find, like, first of all, they find very creative solutions that play really well in fantasy baseball, but don't always play well in real life baseball. But I think, like, these things more often than not work themselves out, whether Andrew Vaughn needs a couple days off at this point because he's played a month straight after being down in the minors for a while. And then Hoskins comes up and maybe he can get hot, or however it works out. I always feel like you can never have to, like, it shouldn't be a complaint to have too many good players.
Yeah, it used to not even be an issue at this time of year because September, just call up whoever you want. Everybody's active.
Put everyone 10 guys.
Yeah, and they've limited that, so it's going to play a role. But at the same time, I mean, these guys are big leaguers for a reason. They know what they're doing. I even saw Collins taking ground balls at third the other day. You know, I mean, they're covering
you gotta do,
all
right?
their bases. Yeah, you can rest easy as a Brewers fan knowing that this is not news to anybody. Like in the organization, the front office is very aware of all the ins and outs to a point where they've probably already made decisions in certain cases of what it's going to look like, and what they could come up with. But either way, I think the team has been playing well, even though they've had some losses lately. It's not like they've rolled over and died. They have fought.
No,
and it just
they're
hasn't
in every
been,
game.
Yeah, they're in every game. They're not just getting, overwhelmed. They've let some teams back into the games. I think that's more the reason. Got to get that bullpen on track a little bit. But you know what? That bullpen's been so good for so long. It's hard to keep guys healthy for that many months. But hopefully they'll get guys back at the right time.
All right, and before we let you go, Tim, Tuesday's an off day, right? 3 games in Toronto. They've got they play Philly on Monday, then a day off, and then they play Philly Wednesday and Thursday. Kind of a weird that you have a day off in the middle of a series, but how much are these guys looking forward to have it finally, after 19 games in 18 days or whatever that number is, having that day off on Tuesday? How important is it for these guys?
Oh yeah. I mean, your body tricks you sometimes. Like you go to the field and you're like, yeah, I feel good because you're used to walking through that threshold and going, all right, now I'm ready to go. It's only on an off day where you kind of let your guard down a little bit and you realize how mentally fatigued you are, how your body is like, oh, just can you not do anything? So hopefully these guys enjoy just a wonderful day of rest. And then they'll be surprised the next day. And this is what I love about baseball. I love about the clubhouse is that you won't see some of your teammates for like a day and a half.
No.
But when you get to the clubhouse, you're like bro hugging and saying, hey, like you haven't seen them in weeks or months. Right. And it's like, we just saw you the other day.
Right. Like 2 days ago. What are we doing here?
Yeah. But it's true. It's like, man, what'd you do on your off day? It's like, I did absolutely nothing. I slept the whole time. Me too.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. I know. So that's the kind of camaraderie. This team is wonderful, easy to get behind, and even easier to talk about.
I love it. Well, Tim, thank you so much for taking the time today. Thank you so much for rescheduling from yesterday. Enjoy the weekend. And I know you'll catch up with Sparky again next week. Let's just, we are enjoying it to this point. Let's keep that going. Let's have a great series there in Toronto, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Oh, look at that hat, the cheesehead hat, and he's out of here. Tim Dillard getting it done. That's unbelievable. He is the best. I mean, he's like, I'm at a loss for words for like how cool Tim Dillard is and like how badly I want to be Tim Dillard when I grow up. Like that's basically it. I want to be Tim Dillard when I grow up.
I want a bunch of toys next to my desk. I'm gonna have to start filling it up over here with like cool hats.
Let's
so we
go.
do have a cheese head up here.
Right. Clear out that whole side room.
Yeah.
Like let's finally take care of and trash all the stuff we don't need. Let's get a bunch of fun stuff in here.
I like it. I like the idea. Let's do it.
All right. Can we get I was gonna say darts, but like Nerf darts. Like not real darts, because that's
why not real darts? You don't trust yourself?
I'm trying to think. Who do you trust the least with a real dart?
You
at the step. Wow. I'll take it, I guess. I know I'll definitely take it. All right, thanks again to Tim Dillard for jumping on. He's on the fan guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Drew Wagner, we'll talk a little more Brewers with him at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Jason Hirschhorn will join us at 4:20 as well. Things are rolling along here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Speaking of Wendy's, remember, any youth player, you're wearing your uniform, that's a free small Frosty. So I don't know. I don't know if you wear your uniforms to practice, but obviously you're wearing your uniform to games. So anytime you're at a game, stop by a local participating Wendy's after the game. Free small frosty. Free small frosty. I mean, Charlie and I are still waiting for our frosties here today. Like we're still hoping. You still got an hour.
We'll be here.
Yeah, you still got an hour to bring by a frosty. If you could bring a third one for Tommy, actually Tommy won't even eat it.
No.
Like,
Well,
Tommy,
you can still bring one for
does
Tommy.
Tommy ever eat?
Yeah, I think so.
I never see him eat.
Well, I think he tries to eat, and then he has to come back here and do something else, and then he can't eat, and then it's a whole nother issue.
Crazy. So yeah, if you're wearing if you're a youth on a youth team and you show up to Wendy's in your uniform, free small frosty. Make that happen, people. This is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Let's go, Charlie.
Woo! Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. I've been, you know what? When you do 5 hours of radio, 3 days in a row, it's a lot.
You're fired up.
Yeah. And I wasn't, I didn't rust up before it. So my voice is, we're gonna struggle through this last hour, Charlie. I'm just letting you know.
It's going to be all right. You got it. I believe in you.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, what do you got for us?
First up, today I wanted to keep in the groove of talking about Micah Parsons. So I have 3 different NFL media analysts talking about Micah Parsons going to the Green Bay Packers, all with 3 very different takes. Mina Kimes on ESPN, she's awesome. I love everything that she does. Her podcast is awesome, so listen to that, the Mina Kimes Show. But she reacted to it right after it happened, and this is her take on the Micah Parsons trade.
I think this makes them legit Super Bowl contenders. Focusing on the defense, because I think that's kind of an underrated story nationally, how much better they were last year under their new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley. Over the course of the season, they finished 7th in DVOA, 4th in EPA per play, 5th in yards per play. Yes, they had a lot of turnovers, which tends to be something that regresses. But in the second half of the year, they also had a very good success rate, which suggests they were fundamentally sound. And they're also talented. They have a lot of really good young players on that side of the ball. I think Edgerrin Cooper, their linebacker, is an absolute superstar. Love what I saw from Javon Bullard. Xavier McKinney, who's, by the way, still extremely young. One of the best free agent signings at safety. The only thing that I thought they really needed outside of cornerback, which, yes, is an issue, is pass rush. Opposite Rashawn Gary, 22nd in pressure rate. So they went out and they got best pass rusher in the entire dang NFL, maybe outside of Myles Garrett. Don't need to tell you how good Micah Parsons is. He's also the most double team player in football, so that's going to open up opportunities for everyone else. You know, I've been saying all offseason, I think AFC is very top heavy, but there's a cluster of teams. NFC, it's Philadelphia, and then a gap. To me, the Packers just vaulted themselves into that top tier. They are absolutely contenders to win it all now.
Hashtag Mina knows ball. Like that's it. Like she literally spot on with everything she said. And I know people could quibble with her last point. Like, did the Packers vault themselves into Philadelphia Eagles territory? Because she's right. It seems like it's the Eagles, and then it's the Lions and the Packers, and maybe a couple other teams in there. I do think this vaults the Packers ahead of the Lions. I don't know that it quite vaults them to the Eagles, but they're in the conversation, right? They are in that conversation, and we will see what home field means. I feel like home field hasn't been a huge advantage for the Packers for a number of years in the playoffs, but certainly it was a huge advantage for Philly last year. I mean, Philly eats at home, and their fans go nuts at home. And if the Packers could avoid playing Philly in the playoffs in Philly, if they could get that game at Lambeau, that changes things dramatically. And that's the territory the Packers have put themselves in.
And that would be really cool to have that home field advantage. I think part of the reason they don't have that home field advantage is because I think people are excited to play at Lambeau, no matter what the Packers team is.
Like the opponents, you mean?
It's such a historic place that they come in and people dream of wanting to play there. People dream of wanting to do a Lambeau leap. I think they get fired up to go do that. People don't really get fired up to go play at the Link in Lincoln Financial out in Philadelphia.
Ain't nobody want to go to Philly.
No, man.
Ain't nobody.
It's brutal to play there. The fans are mean. It's not like Packers fans who are all going to be nice to you. They're going to let you do the Lambeau leap. No, the Philadelphia Eagles and their fans are it's so much different of an atmosphere. It doesn't have that same history behind it. It is solely their stadium and their field. I think Lambeau Field has all of a sudden become such this part of history, such a big part of history, that it's kind of everybody's dream to go play there, and they're not as scared to go play there then.
Yeah, I think there's some of that, but I think it's also that, as we've seen, like Packers fans have sold tickets over the years, especially the regular season games. We've seen way too much Hawaiian blue in the stands the past few years, and so we'll see how that goes. I think that this Micah Parsons deal will re-energize the fan base. I think we're going to see a different Lambeau Field this year.
So Cam Newton would disagree with you.
Cam Newton's an idiot.
He was on First Take earlier today.
I can't believe they gave him a job.
It's like only a part-time job kind of, but it's still a job.
But still.
But he was discussing the Green Bay Packers trading for Micah Parsons and why he thinks it doesn't immediately make them title contenders.
I don't even think that they're the best team in their division. They're not better than Detroit. Even after this Micah Parsons pick, They're not better than Detroit, and you can't say with a straight face that they are. You're not willing to take Detroit Lions over the Green Bay Packers. So for me, yes, are the Green Bay Packers the youngest team or one of the youngest teams in the NFL? Absolutely. Is Michael Parsons still a young player? Absolutely. These are things that you can grow and build upon. But when you're saying they're instant Super Bowl contenders, no, not so fast. Oh, I'm not going for that. Now, one truth that you did say within the next 3 years, absolutely. You have, all type of combinations of young players and young talent, and you can go out and do whatever you necessarily need to do, but they still have to perform. I'm not looking at Green Bay as a threat to Philly when Green Bay is not even a true threat, or they have to go through Detroit to be a threat to Philly.
Listen, there are three best teams in the NFC. It's Philly, Detroit, and Green Bay in no particular order, except that Philly's number one. And if you want to fight that Detroit is still ahead of the Packers, I'm not going to kill you for that. I don't like that he comes out right away and says, you can't with a straight face tell me that. Yeah, you can. You can make the argument. I mean, they're basically even at Potawatomi to win the division. They're basically even at Potawatomi to win the NFC with Philly ahead of them. So absolutely with a straight face, you can say, I think this makes the Green Bay Packers with the Detroit Lions with two brand new coordinators on offense and on defense. And the Packers are in that conversation. So that's fine. And Camp can have his opinion, and listen, he's paid to have an opinion. So who knows if he really believes what he's saying or not? Because I think he just wants to keep his job. Wasn't he complaining this week that he doesn't have an NFL player's salary anymore, and so he can't treat his kids the way he wants to treat his kids? I think you can make the arguments he made. You can just make them better than he made them. There are better points to make if you like Detroit over Green Bay still. It's not, and I don't think I don't think he set up a good case for it.
No, I don't think so either. Last up here, we're going to hear from Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football over on the NFL Network, and he described Packers fans as privileged. Here's why.
I have a very loaded word, guys. This is a word that triggers people. Here's my word for Packers fans right now. You guys, you Packers fans, I love you. You people. I'm gonna say I grew up spending summers in Wisconsin. I love Wisconsin. I love everything you stand for. Can you imagine being a Packers fan? You're so taken care of. You're everything's always so great, even when it's not. It still is, because the headline is, if you were born in the mid '80s when you were a baby, you've never been a Packers fan without at least a Hall of Fame quarterback, and then whatever this version of Jordan Love is. And we already know that. But then every once in a while, the Packers, they give you this little bonus. They hit you with a little fan dividend. Be like, you know what? We'll give you Reggie White. We'll give you Charles Woodson. We'll give you Micah Parsons out of nowhere. It's this gift that you get. You guys have it so good. It's cold out there in them streets for other fans. You have no idea what it's like to stand around a barrel fire with fingerless gloves, just trying to stay warm. You're in your penthouse all the time. And if I sound like I'm jealous of you, I am. And everyone should be. You're so privileged. You're the trust fund fans. Everything is taken care of. You're so wonderful and so lucky and so great. There's a convertible in the driveway when you turn 16. It's just the life that you people live. And I'm happy for you, but I'm also very jealous of you. Once again, Packers fans just find a winning lottery ticket in their pocket. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's right. And so part of what Kyle Brandt is talking about there is one of my pet peeves that I don't care about at all. I don't care when, I know the Detroit Lions have gotten good now, but they were so bad forever. When Detroit Lions fans would be like, you don't know how good you have it. Or Bears fans would be like, you don't know how good you've had two quarterbacks and we've had 47 quarterbacks. And you don't know, you know what? This is my reality. So I don't care what 31 other teams are experiencing. I don't care what their fan bases are experiencing. I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. That's what matters to me. It doesn't matter to me how an Arizona Cardinals fan feels, how a Seattle Seahawks fan feels, how a New York Jets fan feels. None of that is relevant to my life. That's not part of who I am. That's not part of my identity. So, Kyle, you should be jealous because I have lived a very privileged life. With that said, inside that privilege, my life has sucked because I've won 2 Super Bowls with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, while Tom Brady just won 7. Like, Favre plus Rodgers shouldn't be equal 2 when Tom Brady equals 7. I'm not saying we should also have 7 as fans of the Green Bay Packers, but we damn sure should have more than 2. So if you want to be jealous or you want to be whiny because you're another fan base, that's fine. My life doesn't, your fan base doesn't exist in my life. It's not relevant to me at all. I don't care. I live in the universe of the Green Bay Packers and their fandom. And within that fandom, yes, it's great that we make the playoffs almost every year. It's great that we've gone Favre to Rodgers to Love. Now we just got to win a dang Super Bowl.
That would be nice. But you have won 2 Super Bowls, like you said. That's better than majority.
15 years ago.
In my lifetime, the Bears have never won a Super Bowl. Kyle Brandt's lifetime, they've won 1 Super Bowl. Like, that's nothing, man.
Sucks for you, bro.
But like, I'm just saying,
so
you
go be mad at your team.
I am mad at my team. I'm mad at my team all the time.
As you should be. I just want to make sure you shouldn't be mad at Packers fans.
I'm not, but I feel like you guys shouldn't be whining about having 2 Super Bowls in that time. Like, that's 2 Super Bowls more than most teams.
I mean, but it shouldn't be. In 30 years, every team should have won a Super Bowl in the last 30 years.
No, you know that. No.
If you have true parity, they would have.
But there's no true parity. There's no such thing as true parity.
I had no idea Kyle Brandt was on Real World Chicago. You know, I actually auditioned for Real World Chicago.
I didn't know he was on Real World Chicago either. Why did you audition for Real World Chicago?
I wanted to be on the Real World. What do you mean? Let's see.
Why didn't they pick you?
I don't know. He's 3 years younger than me. So we would have been, not that different in age. I don't know. My video was okay. Yeah. It wasn't great. I don't know why I didn't get picked, but I should have gotten picked. I
would have voted for what happened. People vote for people on Real World Chicago. What is this?
I would have crushed it. And he was Philip Kiriakis on Days of Our Lives. You don't even know who Victor Kiriakis is.
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. Victor Kiriakis, one of the great bad guys in the history of daytime soaps in all of America.
I'll take your word for it.
Victor Kiriakis. So I assume Philip Kiriakis was like his grandson on Days of Our Lives would be my guess. I don't know. Who knows? No, but maybe his son, long lost son. I don't know. His storylines included saving his girlfriend from mercenaries, as well as being tortured as a POW and losing his leg in battle. Man, you can't like the only writing that's as good as soap operas is WWE. That's it. Nobody writes as well as the writers for soap operas and the writers for professional wrestling. I'll leave it at that. Should we get to Drew?
We should get to Drew, yes.
All right. Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports, is next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Remember, next Friday, leading you into a huge football weekend, Sparky will be broadcasting live and in person at Rally House in Wauwatosa at the Mayfair Collection. Just in time for you to gear up for the Packers home opening game on the 7th. The fan will even be registering people to win a $250 Rally House gift card. Sparky will see you at the Rally House next Friday afternoon. Drew Wagner's next here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's.